Just
So,
started. Got it. Yep.
okay, so great. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for this is lesson number 5. And as usually, I will go a little bit over about this lesson number 5 that talks about spirit, matter, and fluid. And I hope you had time to read the material, probably with exception of Gianni that could not have the I don't know, for some reason she said that she didn't get my email, and that's fine. Sometimes this happen. So the idea is for you to read this text beforehand, but because we don't have the time to go and discuss this for 2 or 3 hours and have everyone like question, bring the doubt. So the way that I would like to put everybody in the same page is just go over for like 25 minutes, no more than 30 minutes, and some highlight of the text. And for that, I'm going to share my screen and we can follow the as this summary of the PowerPoint. Let me see if I can project here. And I guess everyone is able to see, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So again, majority of the information that we have in this lesson, I mean, majority of us here, I would say everybody has already an idea, but always is good for us to visit. The fact that we have the text, and the text is basically information from the Spirit's book, from the Medium's book, what it is, Spiritism, that talks about the subject of spirit, matter, and fluid. And this is a very important topic in the understanding of mediumship, because without understanding this, at least 3 components, spirit, matter, and fluids, it become very difficult for us to understand how the mediumship phenomenon happens. Okay, so basically, this is from the Spirit's book and the Jhana. Kardec present the main 3 elements of the universe in 2 of these 2 books, the Spirit's book and the Jhanas. And for those that has not studied the Spirit's book, especially the first part, I'm just like, if you just reconnect, just mute, because I guess I can hear myself. So is important for us to go to the foundation, and the foundation of the Spirit's teaching is the Spirit's book. And the first part, when talk about the basic elements of the universe, starting by God, Kardec already in the questions, the beginning of the question 27, and also I believe question we're gonna see in our presentation, he already bring this question, the basic question about us, about the universe as well. So, and I cannot move this. Okay. So basically, is question 27, the Spirit's book. The Spirit revealed to us this the most basic element of the universe, and and then in the text you read that this is the Trinity. We have the 2 main elements, that is the spirit, that comes from the spirit, the intelligence part of the creation, and matter. And to help between matter and spirit, we have the universal cosmic fluid, or the universal cosmic principle. So, and above that, the creator, that's God. God, in this kind of form, the Trinity, the universal Trinity. It's not like that, I know that in Catholicism we have the Trinity, the Father, the Son, the Spirit. So here is a little bit different, okay? So this one, at least like we can really see the matter, the Spirit, and God. We are in the process of understanding, but we believe that, of course, there is a creator. So these three elements comprise the principle of all that exists. According to the spiritual science, they are the universal trinity, as we have mentioned. But the elements of matter must be added to the universal fluid, which plays an intermediary role between spirit and matter per se, since matter is too dense for spirit to act upon it directly. So this universal fluid is the universal cosmic principle that is a derivative of matter, but is a different state. Okay, so we can discuss this more when we open for comment and question. So regard to the spirit, okay, so the spirit is the intelligence principle of the universe. And intelligence is one of the spirit's essential attributes. So this is the answer in the question 23, 24. We summarize here. Of course, there is always that big question. So what the spirit's form? So there is no, according to the spirit, we don't have language to define what is spirit. The best definition is the intelligent principle, okay? Or the intelligent part of the creation. So spirits are not vague and indefinite beings. So it means, of course, it's not like something that when we look at, like, you know, the movies that we see ghosts, it's not like that, okay? So that's the way we try to explain what the spirit is. So spirits are incorporeal beings formed of quintessential matter, but matter existing in a state which has no analogy within the circle of your comprehension, and so ethereal that it could not be perceived by your sense. So that is the answer of the spirit when Kardec asked what the spirit is made for. So this is the best answer. It is these incorporeal beings, and is formed with this quintessential matter. So it's a very, as they mentioned, ethereal matter that we can't perceive. And we're going to see this ahead, the difference between the matter that we accept it because we see, we can measure, we can weight, and the matter that is not be able to, you know, to see and have weight as well. Spirit are the individualization of the intelligence principle, just as body are the individualizations of material principle. We have studied in our spiritual 101 that spirit is the individualization of the spiritual principle that moves throughout different kingdoms. And the matter that we see also is a transformation of the spiritual matter, that is this quintessential matter, the primordial, the primitive matter. So this is the structure that we have: spirit, perispirit, and bodies, or physical body. The spirit, when they are incarnated, when they are connected to the physical body, we call soul. So in that way, it is the intelligence principle that harbors the thought, will, and the moral sense. In the perispirit, we find it is this fluidic, light, imponderable envelope that serves as the connection and intermediary between the spirit and the physical body. So the physical body, in this sense, is the material envelope that enables the spirit to relate to the exterior world. I was missing a D over there. So this structure is good for us to understand who are we now. So right now we are these three-dimensional beings that a spirit with perispirit connect to our physical body. So who are we if we don't have the physical body? For example, the process of the process of death, then of course we have only our spirit connect to our spirit. So the difference between, of course, and we know that incarnate, discarnate is just the absence of the physical body. So in this way, if this is the spirit, so and then we have the perispirit and the physical body. So this trinity, you know, spirit, perispirit, and physical body, pretty much comprise we right now, we that are here talking in the physical plane. So some attribute of the spirit, immortality, which means that we had a point that we created, but we have no end. So we're gonna, that sense, we can be eternal in the sense that we never gonna finish. The individuality, we are individual beings in the sense that we are not a mixture of different spirits, you know. So even if we are incarnate or discarnate, we are just us, okay? So the other attribute of the spirit is intelligence, thought, and reason. Also, we have the conscience that comprise, you know, the intelligence, the thought, the reason, our behavior, everything is inside of the mind of the spirit that we call conscience. The spirits are of different orders according to their individual degree of self-purification or according to the spiritual evolution, so they can be in different level. We have discussed this before as well. So this quote here from Charles Dickens says that the whole difference between construction and creation is exactly this. That is, this constructed can only be loved after it's constructed. But the thing created is loved before it exists. Very philosophical, very poetic, and that's kind of he tried to translate that God's love us even way before we were created, and that's beautiful. So move on to matter. So as we mentioned, that is one of the two elements of the universe. So matter is very important because in order for the spirit to act, it needs matter, even if it is in the form of energy. Matter is the tie that holds the spirits. Matter is the element which enchains the spirit, the instrument which serves it, and upon which it exerts its action. So it's very important, the role of matter in the evolution of the spirit. As the spirit can intellectualize matter, also matter is fundamental for the evolution of the spirit. So in both of them are creature of God, of course, part of these two elements. It may be said that matter is the agent, the intermediary, through which and upon which the spirit act. So we have mentioned this before. Physical and biological science define matter as being everything that has weight, mass, and that occupies a place in space, and a liquid, gaseous, or solid state. So this is something that we learn in school when we study physics and biology. So the definition of matter. The discarnated spirit, in spite of not possessing, loss, Carl has a problem. Okay, let me see here, just a minute. I think Carl just mentioned something.
I
Carl,
think it's a problem with him, Carl. Daniel, he's
okay.
We can hear you fine. At least I can.
I lost your audio. Okay. Okay, I see that Carl is back over there. So if you guys have any problem in listening to me, just just stop me, so I will see what I can do here. Okay. I hope you are able to hear now, Carl. Maybe I don't know. If someone can text Leo, can you text him over there in the group chat and
I'm working on
follow up? Okay, thank you. So the discarnate spirit, in spite of not possessing a physical body, are surrounded by matter and are able to act upon it. So that is something that in mediumship meeting is very crucial, because even for people that may not believe in the existence of spirit, that once we die, that's it. But when we see matter be, for example, in the case of the turning table, or even in the medium's meeting, when we see what happened in a medium's meeting, even not in a medium's meeting, but some places that people has extensive mediumship, is a confirmation that behind that movement there is an intelligent source, an intelligent cause, and that would be the spirit. We can establish that all substance, known and unknown, are in fact nothing more than different modes under which matter presents itself, nothing more than variety into which it has transformed under the direction of the innumerable forces that govern it. So again, there is a lot of matter that we don't see it. Our senses is very limited, it's very dense. Okay, so the universe is filled of this that we may call in physics the dark matter, so the invisible matter. We call dark because we are not able to perceive, but science already have acknowledged the presence of this matter. In spiritism, can easily accept the fact that this that we call the dark matter, the invisible matter, is part of this universal cosmic fluid that fills the universe. So in the Spirit's book, in question number 30, Kardec asks, does matter consist of one or more elements? So the answer is one single primitive element. The body that you regard as simple are not the true elements, but rather transformation of the primitive element. Daniel, how do you know this? Well, the equipment that we have that was able to investigate matter in its small particle is not yet accurate enough to go to the primordial element. That one, I think in this level that we are in this planet, this level of evolution, we're not going to be able to find the primordial matter. That's why the same way the spirit answer that Kardec, or the spirit answer that God is the intelligence brings the first cause of everything, when come to regard his creation, like this, the intelligent principle that is the spirit, and the spirit in the primitive matter that will give origin to the matter that we see, we can't, we don't, that's what he called the spiritual principle and the material principle. Because there is not other name that they could tell us what is the origin of, of everything that is intelligent or things that we see it, the primordial element. So Spiritism explained to us that all creation has its origin in the universal cosmic fluid that we can understand as being the divine plasma, product of the Creator. So, and even we heard the idea of the breath of God, here he called like the divine plasma. So this universal cosmic fluid, it is this primordial element that give origin to all the things that we can see and we can touch, even things that we cannot see and we can touch. In the terms of material, and also help us, the spiritual principle, to connect with matter according to its transformation. From the modification occurred in the universal cosmic fluid, body, substance, and the other existing matter appears. So exactly what I said. So that what everything is coming from. Created spirit can form or co-create, but only God is the creator of all the eternity. So everything that has a beginning and has an end or perish could be have created by us, by the spirit, but things that never perish, that has their eternity, are created by God. Okay, so we can clone, we can do something that is very, very look like that is the natural thing, but create from scratch only God, you know. So this is important information. So let me read this first, and then I'll explain about this graph. Under analogous basis, the human intelligence utilizes the same cosmic fluid for the co-creation, and in a less plane, assimilating the corpuscle of matter with the spirit energy of their own. So that's very important information, because since we are the spiritual intelligence, the spiritual principle, the intelligent principle, so also we have this capacity to co-create in the universe, in our little, level of evolution, in our little plane, and this capacity will somehow help us to evolve. And one day, of course, we're gonna become close to, the perfect level of evolution. So this graph below just give a perspective to us, and this information is in a book. I think it's not in English. The book, one of the book of Chico, that André Luiz brought this information. I forgot the name of the book. I don't know if it was in Roteiro or O Consolador, one of the two books. So André Luiz said that that was said in 1964, in the 60s, that there is a ratio of like for each incarnate, there is 4 spirit that is discarnate. So if you put this nowadays in the perspective nowadays, so the population of the planet, we are talking the population of the planet means incarnate and discarnate. So if the population of the planet taking incarnate is 7+ billions, probably nowadays 7.5, 7.8 billions incarnated. So 3 times more, 3 to 4 times more would be around like 25 to 30 billions discarnate, the population, because now we include the incarnate and discarnate. So that would be the population of the planet. Of course, when we do the census, we don't put in our account the discarnate ones, just the one that are incarnate. So the graph shows that we are pretty much 1/3, 1/4 of, in the physical body compared to those that are discarnate. This information for us that, especially like that is studying mediumship, is very important. That if we already have influence for those that are incarnate, imagine the discarnate population. That is 3 to 4 times more. Thus forming the physical psychosomatic vehicle in which they will reincarnate. We talk about the intelligence, the spirit, or modeling the civilization that represent in the world of the incarnate humanity and discarnate humanity. So the planet is a result of the psychosomatic influence by the mind of the spirit. So that's why we can be influenced by the vibration of the planet, but also we can contribute. So if you right now our planet is going to a lot of transition process, that somehow has our contribution as well. Okay. So fluids, we almost approach the end. So regards to fluids, so we saw matter, spirits, and now let's touch a little bit in the fluid regards to one of these derivative of matter. And this information is in the Genesis. There is a chapter 9. No, not 9. Chapter 14. That talks, I attend that text talks about, fluids. So there is a ethereal fluid that fills space and penetrates body. This fluid is the ether or primitive cosmic matter that generate that the generator of the universe and beings. So again, when we talk about fluids here, we are talking about the definition of fluids given by physics. That fluids, everything that flows, okay? Water is fluid, smoke is fluid, any gas is fluid, everything that flows. So that's the definition. It's the physical, the physics definition. It's not fluid because it's liquid, okay? Liquid is one of the state of, being fluid. Inherent to this ether are the forces that preside over the metamorphose of matter, the immutable and necessary law that govern the universe. So this multiple force, just a minute, I cannot read. This multiple force definitely varies according to the combination of matter, localized according to the masses, and diversified in their modes of action, depends of the circumstance and condition. They are known on Earth as gravity, cohesion, affinity, attraction, magnetism, and active electricity. So this is another form of this transformation of these fluids that can present themselves in our visual, not visual, but material world, So we have the example here: gravity, cohesion, affinity that we find in the elements, attraction, magnetism, and electricity. So this is transformation of, this primitive universal cosmic fluid. All these forces are eternal and universal like the creation. So in everywhere, not in the planet Earth, but in everywhere of the universe, those forces can be found. The universal elementary principle offers two distinct states: the materialization and the materialization. The materialization, by the name say, that of materialization or empoderability that cannot be weighted, which may be considered the normal primitive state. True etherealization belongs to the phenomenon of the invisible world or the spiritual one. So the materialization is those that can be pondered, can be weighed. The intermediate point is the transformation of the fluid into the tangible matter. The materialization belongs to the phenomenon of the visible world. So fluids of ponderability. So that is very clear for us. We already learned about this in school. Everything that occupy a space, place in the space, that has weight, that's tangible, is considered matter. However, even then, there is still not a brusque transition, because our imponderable fluid may be regarded as a halfway phase between the two states. So between etherealization and materialization, there is a very there is very small transition. It's not like, okay, this is matter like visible and then suddenly can become invisible. So everything follows a transition, very as is saying here, is not brusque transition, but like when we see the transition between the season, like from summer to fall, we better can see the moment that things happen. We are feeling that transition going very, very smoothly. So the same thing is when we see between these two states of matter. And also in the text, we have this scheme, this drawing that show the difference of etherealization and materialization. So I'm not going to go to the detail because I'll assume that you already saw this scheme that show one is more in the domain of spiritism, the other one is in the domain of the conventional science that study matter. At the end, we say that there is among the fluids of the spiritual world those intimately linked to the corporeal life. So here we find the key of a immensity of phenomena that cannot be explained with the law of matter. So that is thing that, of course, with advanced of our humanity, we're going to be able to bring this to a scientific explanation, but it's phenomenon that's still yet not well explained. I'm going to skip this, and I would like to finish here by this quote by Emily Dixon. Love is anterior to life, posterior to death, initial of creation, and the exponent of breath. Very poetic, and so during the you find those quotes in the text is just to bring to us that although the spirit science bring this information about matter, spirit, and fluids, this is not something that was created by spirits. A lot of important people figuring humanity also has those insight and brought this in a very a beautiful way to talk about God and the creation. I will stop here because the slide is done. I'm going to stop to sharing, and then we can go to open for our question and comment on this subject. Of course, we're going to do the same approach we have done before. You can open your camera, you can raise your hand, and you can ask your question or make your comment. So I'll be able to. I know that this topic is very technical. You may be asking, okay, so how this help us to understand the mediumist phenomenon. Well, this is very important. It's like you can't go to a lab without knowing the difference between water and sulfuric acid, because if you look at it, it's the same. They are transparent, but if you don't know the composition, you may ruin your experiment. So I would like to stop here. If you have question, comment, please raise your hand. So we have, okay, I don't know who raised first, if it was Samia or if it was Dom, but okay, let's go to Samia this time, Dom, okay? And then late first, okay? And then I'll pass to you. You can open your mic, Samia.
Okay, so Daniel, when there is no physical body, is there a perispirit with the spirit, or the perispirit only exists when we have the physical body?
That's a very good question. So the perispirit envelops the spirit. So the perispirit will be connected to the spirit all the time. The perispirit is the interface. The perispirit always going to exist. The only part of this trinity, the spirit, the perispirit, and the physical body that perish is the physical body. So what happens is, depends of the level of evolution of the spirit, this perispirit that we call spiritual body, they can change. They can, if they are thick in the primitive, and then this world that we live is a little bit not too thick. Let's just for us to understand. So as we evolve to become a pure spirit, the perispirit, the density of the perispirit become very refined, So they used to say that a pure spirit, the perispirit is so ethereal that the difference between the spirit and the perispirit is almost, is almost difficult to see it, because they are so, they are so ethereal. You know, that's the way that they define. So the difference between an incarnate and discarnate is just the physical body, the perispirit. And here's something, Samia, that I would like to clarify. The perispirit, the spiritual body, change depends of the planet the spirit is living, who is going to the experience. For example, if right now you are invited to reincarnate in Mars, on Jupiter, so we need to, as a spirit, we need to have some transition time to build a new perispirit that will suffice the necessity of that planet. So the perispirit, it is formed from the universal cosmic fluid of that planet. It's like, for example, if you go to scuba diving, no scuba diving. What is that, Leo, that you like to do it? Is it scuba diving?
Yeah, scuba diving is one.
If you're going to go
You
to
can
scuba,
use that.
you can. So you can't go to scuba diver just like the way you are dressing. So you have to have a special clothes, special equipment in order to survive under the sea. You know, so if we consider that the sea is this universal cosmic fluid, and it is a transformation of the universe. But that's a good question. Thank you. I hope I clarified your.
Yeah, that was very good. Thank you.
Okay. Don.
I have 3 questions. The first has to do on the first page on the 6th paragraph where it says, "It is time and manner of this formation that we do not know." Is he saying that they're uncertain as, like, for example, when a spirit or how a spirit was made? Is that what he's saying?
Yes.
Okay, and then the other one is on page 8 and I think the second last paragraph. It says, "Under no circumstances should you cultivate groundless distrust in the ghost and mystification." And is he saying don't be so scared about looking in the spiritual world, or what is he saying here?
Yeah. So what my understanding, someone can help on this, is that it is what you said, that don't be so afraid, but also don't go and believe in everything that, you know, you need to kind of like investigate as well, you know.
I just have a question, and that is on page 8 in the first paragraph. It says, "Maintain lucidity during the occurrence of the phenomena. You will not be led astray." And I think that's a good idea. But the reason I ask it is that I thought that someone like Chico Javier was not lucid, that he was basically, I'm not sure how to describe it, but was he lucid?
You know, what we understand is that the medium, okay, so we're gonna study that. So the process of a spirit to communicate through a medium, so they gonna communicate mind to mind, but this communication will have the interference of the spiritual body or the perispirit and the spirit of the medium. Because the perispirit of the medium is connected to the physical body, and the manifestation, even if it is an intelligent manifestation, will go through the physical body of the medium. There is no 100% influence of the medium. I mean, like, there is that we call unconscious medium, that, okay, so the spirit came, the spirit brought information, the medium doesn't remember at all. But even in that sense, the output of the information is going to go to the matrix, so the information that the medium already have in their perispirit. So in another word, there is a filter of information from the spirit that is communicating through the spiritual body. So I would like to give an example for you. For example, if there is two people that is in a two different place, and we need to give information that people, person A and person B. And I'm going to use a person to give information to the person B. Okay? So, okay, I'll tell the person A like this. Okay, bring this letter and give to person B. The intermediary, that would be the medium, the one that will be very faithful will say the same thing, but the sound that the voice is not going to be the same thing of the other one. So why I'm saying this is like, although there is medium that's very faithful to the message, there is always a little component of the medium itself, because there is this filter. So the difference here is, like, for example, Chico Xavier, the filter was a very good filter in the sense that the information was the amount of information that comes from the spiritual world, that the output of this information is almost the same without have little interference from him. But even though there are some information, for example, in the Kardec's time, when they bring the codification, several times Kardec was warned to look at back. So I think the information is not exactly the way you are reading. So there is this definition of like unconscious medium, that those that really doesn't remember anything, but doesn't mean that the filter of that medium is completely like as if it is like 100%. There is always the component of the spirit that is servant as a medium because of the perispirit that is connected to that body. I don't know if I answer your question, but is
there a way to do that? I mean, to maintain your lucidity?
a lot of media, when they are, there is those that's completely aware of what happened, like, you know, they know, and here we have people that, you know, they know when they are not them. That's why we need to know ourselves, because so the medium is transmit the message, and they are aware or semi-aware of the situation. Depends of the state, depends of the medium. There is medium that's completely aware what is coming, you know, but they are not interfere with that thought. They let the thought goes, you know. There is other medium that is semi-unconscious, like that they don't remember. They are in the torpor state. They have some feeling, but when we see the message or what was the manifestation of the spirit, they can recall everything, you know. So this varies, you know. This varies. There is mediums like sonambulic. That's a little bit different. For example, Edgar Cayce, he was not a medium in the sense of our definition, because our definition of medium is someone that becomes an intermediary between a spirit and the physical plane. Edgar Cayce itself, he was the one that go to the sonambulic, the sleep process, and he, as his spirit, his perispirit, emancipate, do what you have to do, see what you have to see it, and come back to the body and give the information. That, by definition, would not be a medium in the sense of Kardec said that is the intermediary, because he was the one that emancipate, got the information, come back, and told what he saw. The definition of medium is the intermediary between another mind to the mind that, you know, to the material plane. Okay?
Daniel, this is Albita. And Kirsten has a comment. She wrote it down.
Yeah,
She's
here's
currently with Raphael, so she has someone to read it. So I can read it, or you can read it.
Yeah, go ahead and read, because I can't check the chat.
Oh, okay, so
okay, go
it's
ahead,
connected with Don's question. So she say, I wonder if they mean, the author, in a general sense, like some people can be so captivated by the mediumistic phenomenon that they can be misled, whereas Kardec tells us to question all messages and communication that come through any medium.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, Kirsten, exactly. And this is one of the base in spiritism. We should question everything, especially regards to mediumship, because if we don't question, if we don't use our reason, that's why in spiritism, this activity is not. We don't encourage people to do this training by yourself, to receive a spirit in their home, because we need to have this always evaluation. Okay, is this information really make sense? Because if we just let the spirit say whatever they want, to do whatever they want, then we become a puppet in the hand of the spirit, and we don't know the agenda of those spirits. So it's the same way we just, people just go to social media and say things, and we just believed. So we always need to do that fact check. We are okay. Is this make sense or is this fake news? Okay, I'm just giving this example because the same thing happened to the other side regards to this, and this can become dangerous because we have a lot of people out there receiving information, and even they do not stop to read and to see if that makes sense, and they are taking those information as a true information, and even publishing books on that things, and sometimes doesn't make too much sense. I mean, goes completely against science, completely against reason sometimes, and that can be dangerous.
Then, and I think to Don's question real quick, it's this not necessarily means that the medium is able to do that while it's happening because of his or her state, which would require a working with a very serious group that can also help in this whole matter. But the question, I believe, is valid for sure, Don, but it certainly is not what Joanna DeAngelo is saying while it's happening. But the whole process in general needs to be analyzed and needs to be taken as we understand in science. Check the facts, check why it's happening, the purpose, and many other factors that needs to go into the equation.
That's true. Thank you, Leo. Yeah, and what Casey mentioned, what Leo and I think relate to this question. That's why it's important for us to study. We take this very serious in the sense that it's the same way any profession. You don't want to bring your car to a car shop that people don't have a certification to look at your car. I mean, although we do that sometimes, because those that have certification, we feel more, trustable and to let those people look at our car. I'm just giving a material example. Okay.
Daniel, this is Karina.
Okay, Karina.
Related to this, it reminded me of a conversation that I had many years ago with my neighbors, a couple right across from my house in Argentina, and he was, based on what he explained to me, we used to have a lot of conversation, clairvoyant, and I do recall having a conversation with him about this, and he said that one time they were having a session, and the mediums were all happy because the Virgin was ready to give a message. And when he always said, no, you wait for me, let me. So what he saw was, yes, the top part was looking like a virgin, but they were showing him red shoes, and he said that was what the clue that they were giving me, that whoever or whatever that being or spirit was not what it was trying to present itself like. So it in other words, it wasn't a virgin, so by wearing those red shoes. So he was always explaining to me that you always have to work with a group of people who is ready and prepared, because the well-being of that medium is the responsibility of the entire team.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes, that's and I believe you're a spiritist, isn't it?
Yes,
That
yes,
is the, yeah.
yes, they were,
Yes, so
it
you have,
was.
thank you. That's perfect. That's the approach that you know, someone that has done the training under the spiritist teaching, that's the way it should be. He asked you, you raise your hand.
Yeah, it was way a little before when you said
Mhm.
about Edgar Casey. I got a little confused because our medium, even Chico Xavier, he had instance that he really emancipated from his body and went to the place and came back to describe the whatever he wants to describe. And a lot of the work of this lady that wrote the memoir of the suicide, what's her name?
Yvonne,
She also emancipated. Actually,
Ivone Pereira.
Ivone Pereira. Actually, she went to Russia, whatever place over there, or she went to many places. And then she came back with a great memory and clarity what happens, and she would describe all her books. I think Memoir of the Suicide also part was done like this. She went there and talked to all these suicide spirit, and that's why it was so painful for Yvonne, because she was two consecutive incarnations. She committed suicide. So it was supposed to be an expiation, the current one, the last one. And she chose, they gave her option. Either she would come with some severe physical limitation because she committed suicide, or she would come as a medium. And she had to be a very, 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 how to say, unknown, very, subtle and almost hiding behind. So I don't know how if Kardec didn't really.
No, all this information is very clear in the medium's book. Okay, let us go back a little bit before I pass to Juliana. Okay, let us go back to the definition of medium. Medium is someone that feels the presence of spirits, or the one that can, the assessment can be the intermediary between two planes. Okay, that's the definition. Now, does it mean that the medium itself, for example, when we talk about clairvoyance, it's not mediumship, but it is a psychic ability that the medium, some people has, to project and to see. So is the spirit itself. For example, Daniel has the capacity to right now to close his eyes and go to Brazil and come back and define and tell what happened right now in Brazil. This is clairvoyance. This is a capacity of the spirit, which means that in terms of the definition of mediumship, there is no entity tell me what's going on in Brazil. Just an example. So it is an ability. So a lot of mediums, they can have this ability. Chico Xavier had the ability. We call this psychic phenomena. Every medium can be a psychic. What means that the medium has all the capacity to emancipate, to see what's going on and come back without nobody tell them what's happened. Now,
but how about if he had chat, he had conversation with the spirit there? Isn't that considered mediumship? Because
all this
information from the
all
spirit
this
world.
is in the umbrella of the psychic phenomenon that we, the spirit, through the spiritual body, can do it. The one that do this is the perispirit. Okay, so for example, when someone that is deceased come and give a communication, that entity through the perispirit connects to the perispirit of the medium and give the information. And the medium just reproduce that information. Now, there is the active participation. And if we read the somnambulism, I mean, we didn't. So the somnambulism, we studied this, I think, before. The somnambulism is what? The medium, the person go to a trance, the perispirit leaves the body and go and have some experience and come back and describe, okay? Clairvoyance, the medium go to a trance, the perispirit goes to place, come back, and tell what's happening. So there is no other spirit saying that. Now, yes, it's possible that in a situation of emancipation, you meet spirit and you have a chat and come back. Yeah, all this is inside of the umbrella of studying mediumship. But I was explained that by definition of medium, the definition of medium is the one that serves as an intermediary between two planes. It is in the middle, median. Okay, doesn't mean that that person also has the capacity that doesn't need to be a medium. The person itself can go and verify. I think this is just for us. We are a little bit lost in the definition, but at the end is the attribute of the spirit. Some people has this capacity to be medium, but also to be psychic. But not every psychic person is a medium. So every medium can be psychic, but not every psychic can be medium. Example, there are people that you come close to the person and they can tell you everything in your life. That's not a spirit telling that person. So that person is a psychic. Medium is the one that is an intermediary of a spirit, a discarnate spirit. So just for us to understand the definition, how you classify. So here in the US, it's very common to have those places as psychic reading. The person that do a reading, by definition, is not a medium in the sense of the spirit is defined. Because sometimes when the persons go there, now we may have medium that's psychic. If the person, if we come to have a reading and the person comes to you and say, here, there is a spirit that's telling me this, and I'm translate to you what this spirit is telling me. That moment, that person is a medium. If the person just look at you, hold your hand, and look and say, look, I don't know what's going to happen, but I see that this thing happen. It's going to happen or will happen. So that is the person that has this capacity to foresee what may happen. Now, we are not telling you here to go to psychic to look at, because that spiritism doesn't vouch that. But we spiritism acknowledge those phenomena. But spiritists decide not to go and investigate this and sign as true, because we don't do psychic reading. In spiritism, we do mediumship meetings. So that needs to be very clear for us, that they're learning about mediumship and psychic phenomena. So if we read the Spirit's book, and there is the definition of all the types of mediumship, the physical mediumship, the intelligent mediumship, all this too has participation of the invisible world, with exception of clairvoyance. What is the other one that we just mentioned about the Edgar case? That there is no spirit present. It's just the medium itself emancipating through the perispirit. I just want to make this
Somnambulism.
Somnambulism. So I just want us to understand that we are not saying that some part is wrong now. We just need to understand the signs of spiritism, how they see this. So we all have this capacity. You know, some people have this more ostensible, other less, but at some point we can experience those. And the explanation is, the mechanism is our perispirit or spiritual body emancipate or captures those information. you know? So once we understand that, and all these things is controlled by our mind, the mind of the spirit. That's why we need to know ourselves in a sense that, okay, is this that I'm feeling really me, or it is the influence of a spirit? It's very important in this train of mediumship that we know, you know, what really is belong to us and what doesn't belong to us. Okay? Good?
Can I?
Okay. Let me hear Carl and then Juliana.
I was before.
Yeah,
Sorry.
this one, Carl. Oh,
I think so.
so, Carl, you're mute. Hold on, Juliana, just a minute. I think you're mute, Carl. Let me help you here.
Me.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
We can
okay.
hear you.
Thank you. I have a question about a line near the end of page 7. Try to rise to the task, sustained by your good intentions, relying on the postulates of the doctrinal knowledge. That's the part that if you could help explain to me.
I think what Kirsten answer your question, because what that part is saying basically is like, look, it's not too much to study this, to study the spirit signs in order for us to have a decision. I think it's pretty much what she said. We need to evaluate everything.
Okay.
Being a spiritist is a little bit different of other probably philosophy religion. We need always to question, okay? But there is a thin line. We need to question, but then we cannot be rebellious and try to go against everything because now I'm a spiritist, I need to question all the time. It's got to have a point that we should be satisfied with our question, or you should be okay in not having the answer, because there is a lot of questions that we can't answer yet. You know, for example, even the spirit's book, when Kardec asked about what is the spirit, what the spirit is formed, he said, look, you don't have language. We don't have language to tell you exactly what is the spirit. What is God? It's the supreme intelligence. There is no definition in your language because we are still like not evolved enough to understand. So in that sense, we should like, okay, let's concentrate in things that we can really like understand and move on, and you know that's gonna help us in our evolution. It's pretty much what Kirsten mentioned. I think answer your question. Okay.
Okay. I just was wondering about postulates of the doctrinal knowledge.
No, that's true. When talk about postulate is that in order for you to make an analysis of something, you need to have beforehand the understanding of those principles.
Okay.
Okay, so how can you make an analysis, a technical analysis of a situation if you don't have the foundation? And I can give that example to you. How can a doctor give a diagnosis of a disease if they don't have all the information beforehand to come and make a diagnosis and say, look, and the information mean have a medical degree, you know, you need to be a doctor. That's it. So you need to study 5-6 years. You need to know how to read the exams, you know, to make and give a diagnosis. How can you give a diagnosis about a message that a spirit brought to you? You know, for example, I can give an example. Oh, you know, if tomorrow I come to you here and tell like this, you know, guys, you have no idea. I received a message from Emily Dixon, you know, the lady here, and it's a poem from her. Then you read the poem, and there is nothing to do with the Emily Dixon poem because you compare what she wrote when she was incarnate, and this poem that now she brought to me has a lot of English mistake, doesn't make sense. The style is completely different. So what is the authority? So, and you guys read that poem and say, "I'm sorry, Daniel, but that doesn't it doesn't seem this belong to that spirit. Well, we could have a spirit. I'm not denying that probably I was able to receive that communication if I consider myself a ostensible medium, that I am not. But it's possible that I have that communication. But what happened? The spirit that brought the communication was a deceived spirit. That was a pseudo spirit. Pretended that the spirit was Emily Dixon. The same way Karina just brought to us. And if we, the group, is not aware about the life of Emily Dixon, the group might agree with that. You know, that's why it's important to have knowledge before make a determination or accept it. And this knowledge, in these terms, is the spiritist principle that's what we are studying here, how to analyze those messages and so on. Juliana, sorry, you are over there in the standby. Is your turn?
Yes, it's okay. So I actually have a comment and two questions. So my comment is, well, even though all of this makes sense, and it seems that it's not updated to the 21st century physics. So it's kind of when I read the basic force, for example, these are not the force that we understand today as the basic force of the universe, because when Kardec wrote this book, we did not know about like weak and strong force that acts on the nucleus of the core. And so one of my questions would be, could we potentially update this information? And the second question is also related to that. Based on this information, the perispirit is matter, and also the cosmic matter, although it's classified in a different way, is a primitive matter. So everything that consists of fluid or the cosmic matter and matter itself, we can potentially measure at some point. So that's what I understand, because everything that it consists of matter, even like the perispirit, it should be in accordance to the physical law of your physical universe.
No, perfect. That's true. So let us go. Let's go. Just want to make a comment about the update stuff. I think we should be careful about update, because when you say that something is update, we can update in the sense that we cannot change what was said in 1818. Okay. And Kardec said something that is very beautiful in Spiritism, and I like, is that Spiritism evolves. Okay. So what Kardec says, and is in the Genesis, so in any moment he was worried about defining the specifics what physics bring. The spirit was, he brought the foundation. He brought like the universal cosmic fluid. They give some definition of this, but it's up to us to give name and to update this information as science evolved. That sense, you're right. Because
I think you should have like a footnote on these forces.
Yeah, no, that's true. And if you see, for example, the translation of books, and even like new, this is possible. The author can put those information, but the information that was already crafted by Kardec, that cannot be changed, because then we are changed the information of the author. And here we are talking about the author, the spirits, because Kardec, in sense, he just put together. But there is nothing wrong in to update by writing. That's why after the codification, we have the books of André Luiz. For example, in the codification, which means the Spirit's book in the Genesis, there is not much information about colonies, about the whereabouts of spirit in colonies. They just talk about the spiritual world. So in that sense, that is information that was added as we evolved, So if you see the books of André Luiz, even the book of Joana de Angelo, is an update in the sense that they add information that is connect to the base, that is the 5 books, without change the 5 books. You know what I mean? In that sense, you're perfect right. That can be done. So when we say updated, I kind of feel a little bit like, you know,
Oh,
in the sense that, okay, so we can't change the thing, but we can add. And in that sense, I agree with you.
I agree. It's just my comment is more because somebody reads that, somebody's a scientist, they're gonna be pushed away by this idea. And if you
No,
make a
no,
footnote,
no. If
oh,
you're a true scientist, you make the connection. You say, okay, maybe you put in perspective, Juliana. What is done in 1857 cannot be pushed away. You put, wow, these people was already say this, but look at this. I can connect to that. Although say, because that time we didn't have the science. You know what I mean? It is a true
so you are
scientist.
teaching this today, not in the 19th century. That's what I'm saying. So you will have to add a footnote.
Yeah, that's true. If the person is open to understand, they will. If they don't, the beauty of spirit is that if you are pushing away for one side, then you're gonna find explanation, but you're gonna reach a point that, you know, and here's the thing: in spiritism is doesn't Kardec was very clear. If one day science tells something that's the spirit, or I'm talking about the answers of the spirit, didn't say, so we should stay with science, you know, and that somehow will help this teaching evolved, you know.
Daniel, I think what I understood is we cannot change at all the books that are published.
Yeah.
It's already put in the archive. This is against the law. But what she's preparing, your material that you're presenting to us today, it might help if we had some
Oh yeah, I'm sorry if I missed it.
right.
Yeah,
I
that's
think that is the point you
no
present to us today.
the material, yes, but here's the thing, because with the exception of you, Juliana, probably ask, I don't want to offend anyone here, but I'm not a physicist, so I'm not bringing those concepts. I'm sorry, because then I will put the information very
But in
high
spirit
about.
movement, many people are talking about these forces. You know, Raul Teixeira,
Yeah, I know that.
many people are already saying this is in the spiritist movement. We
Yeah.
know all about this. It's all
Yeah,
No,
said.
but
you
yeah,
we ask, you, my, and probably Juliana he does bring here, but we
Just
have a
put a
group of
footnote.
people. So you know, because we don't have time, I would not go to the size of matter. I'll go to the spirit size. That's why we are here, guys. Because this you guys can read anywhere. Can just go and read what is updating in what size bring. This is not a university in the sense that we bring the size of matter. And I'm sorry, but we are not here for that. We are here for the spirit size. And that is the invisible thing that probably the size of matter didn't agree yet, some of those information. And I just wanted to bring this very clear, because one of the things that we sometimes in spiritism, this happen a lot, and I put myself on this. I wanted to have exact explanation of things as I learned in the university, in school. And then what happened is when we are suffering, those information is the thing that we worried the more. We wanted to understand about our loved ones, about the other side. How can I get the information? I know that we need to bring the information about the spirit, matter. This is technical information. That's fine. And there is no pretension to have an update what science have out there, because first I'm not a scientist of the matter in the sense that I understand those forces. I know that there is those forces in the universe. I mentioned here about the black hole, for example, but the dark matter, but that's what we hear over there. But the explanation of what is this, and the spirituals come this, all this comes from the universal cosmic fluid. That's it. At this point, I think it's important for us to understand that the detail, the information that comes, I agree with Juliana, I agree with us. Probably you need to bring this and put in a footnote, yes. But this is just a presentation that is like mediumship 101. You know, if we really want to go deep on this, we need to spend many other time trying to understand the real things behind all the little things that happen here. So I hope we understand what we are doing here. Do you?
I didn't mean to criticize, but I make a suggestion, and I think as much as you are right saying that we are here to study the spirit acts on the matter, and for us to understand the action of the spirit on the matter, understanding the matter is as much important as.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. But thank you so much, Julian. I think that's a good point. But I mean, like, if we wanted to understand the matter, the sense that you and me wanted to go, I think we're not gonna have time to go to that. That's my whole thing, my whole explanation.
And I agree. I'm giving my feeling. For me,
That's fine.
it's bothering me a lot when I see people from spiritism community talking about things, and I'm not talking about you specifically, because every time that I go to Spirit Center when I go to Brazil, somebody knows that I'm a physicist, and they start talking about quantum physics and dark matter and black holes without understanding, and that really pushes away people from the conversation.
And that's why I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying that what physics says about dark matter, about all this work, is the derivative of the spiritual universal truth. I'm not even go to that part because you're right. If I don't know the subject, I'm not gonna go to that thing. I understand that in terms of material, in terms of book that have footnote, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. And I think you're right. You know, when we try to talk about something that you are not in the field, you have this, as you said, you know. But also, I was a scientist for 10 years, and I'm gonna tell you, as a scientist, and the ASCO as well work as a scientist. We as a scientist, we have so many things to learn about humility and about to see beyond matter. And that is a problem, because I remember in my first, and I did a personal thing, my first 5 years, I have hard time, Juliana, to really like sit and read some of the stuff, because, okay, that's not what I learned in biology, that's not I learned in physical chemistry. But then with time, you're gonna see, if you open your mind, you're gonna say, okay, so maybe it was said in a different way. Maybe it's me that's putting that block here and be turned away from that. And I believe that every one of us here, we have our own time, you know, and personally from me to you, I would say, look, if some knowledge turn you away when you see, I mean, like, we need to ask ourselves, okay, why is this bothering me so much? What I have to learn here? And it took so long for me to accept that, because, you know, only through some pain I say, okay, so I know that it is, but we should not like, you know, we should keep our mind open, you know, and some people, they may really don't be a good message of the message, and and sometimes they feel they damage the message, you know, and turn people away.
Okay, so, yeah, I agree with most of the part. Sorry to disagree again in one point. But science actually teaches a lot of humility if we can actually see how much we do not know, and we cannot explain through science. So
Okay,
there are other
so
ways to see that.
okay, I would say something to you, Juliana. I accept your thing, but probably we are seeing two different sides here. You know, I understand that when you this, and I wanted to stop this because of time, and maybe we can talk about this later if you want, you and I. But in respect to the whole group, so this is definition that I think that's not the idea for us to go to that size, but since we are in a third group, we have different point of view, and I think the best way that, of course, I accept that you disagree, that's fine. Anyone here can disagree. But at the end of the day, this is a mediumistic third group. I wanted to put very clear to this. can disagree. If tomorrow anyone here feel, okay, this is not for me, as Regina last week said, that's fine. That's not gonna change anything between our relationship, but we need to keep with our schedule. And I accept some suggestion, that's fine. But at the end of the day, we need to make, clear that we're gonna finish our syllabus, not finish another meal without going to the end of our what we have planned. Good? Juliana, good? Okay, so here's the thing. I'm sorry that we have only 5 minutes, but I wanted to take this 5 minutes just to bring to the group here, with exception of Alba. I think Alba was not here last time, but I believe everybody was here. Mateus, you were here last time? Is Mateus still
I
there?
don't think so.
Okay. So I think except of Alba and Mateus, I think I have to give a feedback to the group, because last time we know that Regina also, she left the group. And so I talked to her afterward, and she said that she needs to have some time for her to try to understand what's going on with her. That's fine. So she said that she's not going to be part of the group in this time being. I hope in the future she can come back. She didn't explain why. So I also told her that, I was open, the group was open. I tried to find out what was the problem, because we always need to clarify if something doesn't go the way, we are expecting. I don't know what was the expectation. I don't know what's the problem. That bothers me a little bit. I try to talk to her to see if it was something that I said or something that someone here in the group said. But she reserved the time to just meditate about what happened. And I said, look, that's fine. I basically said to her, whatever she wanted to come back. Of course, she's not going to come back to this group. Even if she wants, I will not let her come back to the group. She also dropped from the WhatsApp group. Exchanged some message with her, but the thing is that we don't know. And so I wish the best to her, and I don't know if you guys have contact or have talked to her, or if there is anything that was not clear. I didn't know what happened. And I was very shocked. I listened to the record again. I will listen everything, because things that like this is very good for us to clarify. But unfortunately, we need to respect the other person. And as a group, and as the coordinator of the group, I try my best. And she has the right to not disclose anything, and that's fine. That's fine. But then tomorrow, I will not accept her back in the group, or in the other group I have to think twice, because if in this kind of training we cannot really be open with one another as a group, it's very difficult to continue having someone here that at some moment may go, bring the same problem again, So I just wanted to give this information to you, because you all were part of the meeting and you guys know what happened, and unfortunately that's life. That's happened. Is there any question, comment any of you guys have here?
No.
No?
Hi, it's Kirsten.
Hi, Kirsten.
Hi. No, I just wanted to, Alba and I were just talking in the chat here for a second there. I just wanted to say, I mean, I think this is the beauty of Spiritism, is that we get to question what doesn't make sense to us, and, we get to bounce ideas off one another. For me, I don't know about anyone else, speak for myself here, growing up, it was something that I really enjoyed, is being able to question things, even to, having my my parents and saying, hey, I don't agree with this doesn't make sense to me, and just growing up and learning different things and being able to do that. I think that, I mean, it's why I love spiritism. I don't know what everybody else feels about it, but everyone's welcome. All opinions are welcome. This is a study group, and we're studying, we're learning together, and I think it's something beautiful. I mean, to me, I mean, I enjoy lectures, but to me, my this is a personal thing. I love the study groups. I love reading and discussing and going over points, because I don't, my education is limited, but I love hearing everyone's different point of views, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's always nice. So I just wanted to add that.
And the other thing is like, and I think what Juliana said, like, that's is the spirit that we need to have here. We need to disagree, we need to bring our point, but at the end of the day, even if our disagreement doesn't, we should, like, it's like family. We should not, like, okay, I will drop this group because then we miss the real meaning of studying spiritism. You know what I mean? Because spiritists come to help us to go to those disagreement, or even like, let's not drop the ball just because, I felt, that my idea, that's not what the proposal of spiritism.
I don't think
Go ahead.
that it was the case. She's so intelligent. It's
Who-
something beyond
Look,
our conversation, I feel.
Yasko, I understand that,
No,
but
I think we're out of this. Not with
yeah,
us.
no, yeah,
No, she's very intelligent. No.
but that's what I'm. If you are very intelligent, you should be. Maybe it's
No,
intellectual.
It's something that has nothing to do with her. I'll say, yeah, it was beyond her. It's something else beyond.
Okay, maybe it was a
So
spirit
it's
influence.
nothing with the
That's true.
incarnated one. With the
That's
incarnated.
true. Yeah.
So
But that was the perfect
yeah,
group to come back
yeah,
and say, look, I don't know what happened. I have this
well,
emotion. Is this a spiritual influence? What can be?
but she has the right to be.
She has
to
the
make
right.
a thing,
Any one of us has the right. I agree with you, Yas. But here's the thing. If at this point, bring all the information about, our emotion, the influence, and what can happen, and we don't know ourselves, that was a perfect environment to say, look, something here is different. So I should, look at on that.
It's our
That's
opinion.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But then people like this never gonna be in any group.
I don't know. Let it pass. Let it pass.
No, it is past. I'm just bringing this to the group because doing this study here is not like other study. It's about also take in consideration the influences about ourselves in this environment. It's very complex, guys. I'm sorry about bringing this because at the end of the day, it's very complex. We are complex beings. We have all our baggage of things that we bring from our lives. And when we are in the environment like this, that we are trying really to bring another perspective in life, we sometimes differs. But I agree with you, Yasko, and I agree with probably with her to have her time. Maybe if it was me, I would act different, but we should respect our individuality, and everyone has their own way on this kind of situation.
Daniel, this is Dion here. Just to add, I agree totally with Yasko because twice since March, I talked to her. In fact, she called us. She called Aloysio, and then she called me. We know from like 25 years ago. And in fact, as Yasko said, it's something that is not related to the group or to you personally. She is going through, she has been sick and she has been very vulnerable, I would think, because when she called me, and you could tell she wanted to put it out, but not about the group, not about the spiritism. she was with labyrinthitis or vertigo, and her daughter is living with her. And then she said to me, almost crying, this was like 2 or 3 weeks or 1 month before the explosion in the group, that I frankly don't think that is related to you or any of us. Then she said, what is going to be of me after Anna goes back to her normal life? Because she has been living with us and she has been helping us. And I just wonder how it's going to be my life. And I said, no, don't worry, live the present. But the God, God will provide in the future. Everything is going to be fine. And I didn't really put more timber in that bonfire, you know what I mean? Because I said, I am not a therapist, but this is what I didn't want to say. And this is, I'm not exposing too much. She said to the group that she was sick and she had vertigo and everything. But I think it's too much more. And she kind of mentioned slightly that she's going through something. So maybe a word that she heard and that ignited other feelings, other emotions. And I didn't call her back because I don't want to be, and oh, she said that. But she called twice, Aloysio and I, just to chat, but she never mentioned anything of the group. And this was before. And we just talked like about depression and whatever happened to Aloysio in the past. And I mentioned the problem with Renita because we were talking about the mind and about mental, like Renita has the problem that she had with her surgery, and like a casual conversation. But I could sense and I could feel and I could really feel that I said, but my God, and she has been home since March. She doesn't go any place because she
Johnny,
considers herself a
no,
risk.
Johnny, I have to stop you over there because of our time, but thank you so much for your feedback. And I just wanted to put an end of this situation from our friend here with the group, because I think I have to give some feedback to you guys because what happened last time. And I move forward. This is a subject that we should not discuss because first she's not here and it's already passed. But it's situation like this, I like to extend a little bit this. I know that when things like this happen, our tendency is like just put under the rug and just like, oh, let's not discuss this. But if we really wanted to move on and really dig in our emotions, that is the main, that it's more the thing that's more important for us in this level that we are, is really to understand what's going on for us. This kind of thing, I take this as a kind of like a state case in the sense that, look, what happened to her can happen to any one of us here, can happen to me tomorrow, and I can just go. And so the idea that I wanted to extend this conversation is that we are not um, um, we are not like all powerful that tomorrow our mind, our life can be turned upside down. And what we as a group need to do in a situation like this, and that's why I will bring this, is that we need to have compassion. We need to understand. We need to give her time. We need to pray for her. And we need to pray for us because we are not also balanced here, completely. We all have our issues. I have my issues, and we all have our issues. But how you deal with those issues, how we is what's gonna make the difference, And so I wanted to finalize with that. Thank you, Johnny, for your feedback. Thank you, Juliana, for bringing also your information. Everybody that participate here, Yasko as well. I would like to finalize with a kind of prayer visualization, okay? So we can finalize our night. So I don't know if Leo is still here, but I would like to ask Leo if he could help us. Are you there, Leo?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Can you do a final prayer for us?
Yes.
Slash visualization so we can finalize with our of our meeting today. I know that we didn't do, for the second time, we didn't do our our weekly assignment, but don't worry, we're gonna do all these assignments at some point, you know.
All right, dear friends, let us then get ourselves together in terms of our physical body. We may be sitting for a while, and we tend to slouch a little bit and not really carry ourselves the best way possible. So let us find a comfortable yet straight position so we can finalize this evening with joy, with courage, to put into practice what we have learned here today. The understanding of us, spirit, matter, and the fluids that connect us all. We ask you, dear Lord, that you guide us in the difficult and the happy moments of our lives, to understand ourselves as millenary beings with the baggages that we bring from the past, that in many cases are the difficulties that we created, but also we take in consideration the good ideals, habits that we have developed thus far. Let us evaluate everything and see what's pertinent to us so we can regenerate ourselves while also extending a hand to our brothers and sisters who is in need of a hand as well, who is in need to develop themselves morally and intellectually. May these teachings guide us. May this meeting in which all of us come here to learn be a point of light in our lives. The interactions that we have, the comments that we made, the feelings that we went through can all serve as guidelines for us to live better and to evolve. Wishing each one of us an amazing week that is about to start. Let us be grateful for the physical body and interactions that we will have, whether at work, in our family circles, at our homes, wherever we may be. Let us connect with our mentors, those who are with us 24/7, giving their lives to help us succeed in our endeavors. We each wish everyone here in both realms of life a happy week, and let our Master Jesus be with us until we meet again. And so be it.
Thank you, Leo. For this Saturday, I think it's you, isn't it, Leo?
Yes, it's me.
Are
It will
you
be me.
ready? So, is everybody over there with it? I'm gonna take a screenshot as usual. Since I didn't take the screenshot last time, so if you wanted to get your pet, it's now or never.
She's up downstairs.
Huh? Okay, let's go to the screenshot. Let me see here. Oh, Rafael! Carl, I cannot see you, Carl.
Johnny.
Oi.
Open your camera, Johnny.
Oh, I thought I had.
No, you.
I
Okay,
am
one, two,
now.
1, 2, 3. Ah, what is Rafael? I only see Rafael over there. It disappears. Okay, one more. Oh, I'm not here. Oh, I am here. One more. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So guys, have a nice evening.